Hey everybody, welcome to the Bark Night Podcast. I'm your host Patrick. So for this episode, we are doing a bonus episode, and it is going to be of the honorable mentions that were not talked about in our top favorite movies of 2013 episode. So a few different people reached out to me and were like, hey, I'm really curious about what your 30 through 16 movies were, and I'm not making a Letterboxd account to figure it out. So I figured I'd throw this together real quick here and review those. And once I go through those, there's actually an additional segment that was cut from last week's episode because it didn't flow very well with the rest of the episode. And yeah, so first off, number 30 is Dead Man Down. So I briefly talk about this in the segment with Dan and me in a little while, so I won't go into too much detail here, but it's Colin Farrell, Noomi Rapace, Terrence Howard, Dominic Cooper, and it's like a little crime thriller. Fun little movie. It's not fantastic, but it is decent enough if you're looking for a crime thriller. So, check that one out. It was very few people saw it. I think I was like one of the only people who was looking forward to it and saw it. It disappointed me a little bit, but it's still pretty decent. So next up is number 29, which I had Riddick with Vin Diesel. So for this franchise, which was Pitch Black, and then Chronicles of Riddick, and then just Riddick, it was a little bit of a return to form for the franchise. It has a really solid cast to it, and it goes back to that idea of a remote planet with creatures on it that are hunting people down. So, like I said, a little bit back to basics for the franchise after they were trying to build out the universe with Chronicles of Riddick and didn't really do it that well. Made some missteps along the way. This one kind of goes back to the basics on that portion of it. So, yeah, decent enough movie, but it's at number 29 on my list, so it's not fantastic or anything, but I did enjoy it enough. It's a nice little sci-fi action, a little bit of horror type flick. Next up, I had number 28, The Last Days on Mars. So this one's an interesting one. So it has Liev Schreiber in it. It has Elias Koteas in it, and a few other people. And it's basically the story of a group of astronauts on Mars that begin to succumb to some sort of, evil force. And it's not terribly long. It's kind of a B-horror type thing. And it's a lot of fun, though. I enjoyed this one for what it is. It's not up to the heights of so many of those other movies, but it is worth mentioning. It's an honorable mention. That's what basically we're doing here is honorable mention. So, it's a fun enough movie if you're looking for a space horror. There are much better space horrors out there, but there are far worse as well. So I recommend it as something that you should at least see. I've seen it a couple times now, so it's at least worth revisiting for me after, 12 years. Up to number 27, I had the movie Horns, which is like a quirky little horror movie with Daniel Radcliffe in it, where basically the whole idea with it is that one day Daniel Radcliffe's character starts to grow horns, and he's not entirely sure why, but over the course of the movie he's like kind of body horror, and it, like, if I remember it correctly, it's kind of got some humor to it too, but like he's kind of growing into like, and they're like devil horns, not just like bull horns or anything, like full on he's growing into a devil. So it is a really interesting premise, and they do some fun things with it, and it's definitely worth mentioning here. But it's like kind of like a dark comedy horror type thing. Absolutely worth seeing. A lot of these weird little movies he's done since the Harry Potter kind of fall into a similar, like quirky, low budget sort of area for that. I don't think this isn't like super low budget though. It's got a decent budget to it. I haven't looked it up, but I bet it's like 20 million or something. Anyways, that's number 27. So number 26 is the movie called Filth. Now, I haven't caught up with mine and Dan's section yet, but I believe I talk about this movie in there. It is James McAvoy and Jamie Bell. And it's like a dark comedy crime thing where basically James McAvoy is a corrupt police officer in the UK who's basically going off the deep end with drugs and alcohol and just engaging in the most primal of his demons. And he's an absolute force in this role, so I think it's something that, I don't think a lot of people will want to watch many times, but I think it's absolutely worth checking out, so check that one out. Next up, at number 25, I had The World's End. As you know from last episode, this did make it into Dan's top 15. It's a solid movie. Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, all those guys from those Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. This is the final movie in that trilogy. It is not as good as the others, but it is a fun time, and I think it's aged better for me over time as I've come to. I know exactly what I'm getting with it, but it's got a solid UK cast like Paddy Considine and I think Martin Freeman's in it too. A couple other people. Solid cast, fun time. There aren't that many movies like this while not quite living up to the other two. But, yeah. Number 24, I had Iron Man 3. So everybody knows about this movie. Dan had it in his top 15. I think this landed somewhere between 11 and 15 for him. But, yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. It obviously, for me, lined up as more of an honorable mention than anything, but it's solid. It's got a good emotional arc to it for Tony Stark. It's got an amazing cast, and Shane Black, he knows how to make movies. He doesn't miss very often. He did with The Predator, but yeah, it's absolutely worth checking out. And it's this far down for me because it does take a fair amount of missteps. And, I don't know, just general things I didn't like with it. So that's where it ends up for me. All right. Next up is number 23. So I had Fast and Furious 6. So this isn't Paul Walker's last one. This is the one before that where they're fighting Luke Evans. I think this one is where they start to get into the flow of what the franchise really is. I do like Fast 5. I think Fast 6, Fast and Furious 6, whatever they're calling these. I think this one, it lines up pretty well with number 5. And, I mean, it's got Gal Gadot in it. It's got Elsa Pataki in it, Gina Carano, Sung Kang, and the rest of everybody that's in the rest of them. And yeah, everybody's doing really well. Everybody knows what they're doing at this point. Directed by Justin Lin. It's a solid action movie. It's this far down the list because there's just a lot of good movies this year. But if you're into these sort of things, this is before it gets too ridiculous with them going to space and everything. And, I think I think the 7th installment is probably slightly better than this one. I cried during the 7th one. But I think that's kind of like after the 7th one is where 8, 9, and 10 just get absolutely bonkers and they start running out of ideas, so everything gets crazy. But yeah, check it out if you're into that. Number 22, I have Olympus Has Fallen. So this is one of those movies that came out. It was this one against White House Down. This is the Gerard Butler one with Aaron Eckhart. I like this. I've seen both. I like this one considerably more. I think it's a really good time. It was, I forget what the studio's name that made this, but it was their biggest hit at the time. It made more money than anything they had ever done before. And so, as expected, they made 2 more, which neither of them is quite as good, but they're actually still pretty solid movies for, being what they are in the way of little action flicks. Check it out if you're a Gerard Butler fan. Number 21, I had The Wolf of Wall Street. As you heard in the last episode, I'm not huge on this movie. That's why it's so far down this list. I just think it's super over the top, and I do understand that's the point. It's just, it doesn't quite connect with me because of that. And I don't fault anybody for loving this movie. I do think there is a lot to love about it. It has an amazing cast, amazing directing, amazing writing. Like, there's a lot of really amazing things about it. But just for me, it doesn't quite connect where I'd like it to at the end of the day. So, 21 days. All right, next up we have the movie Snitch. So, this movie is one of those action thrillers with The Rock that have released over the years. It has Barry Pepper, Benjamin Bratt, John Bernthal, David Harbour. It's got like a really, really solid cast. Susan Sarandon's in it. Michael K. Williams is in it. So it's a solid movie. So basically it's about The Rock going undercover with John Bernthal to try and capture or kill the people that wronged him in some way. I don't know. They probably did something to his son or something, if I remember. But it's really solid. And, I mean, John Bernthal is great in this. He's great in a lot of things he does. And it's worth watching if you're a big fan of his alone, because it's not a buddy cop thing, but it's him and The Rock sort of... The Rock is like a fish out of water, not really understanding the drug game, and John Bernthal is ingrained in it, and so he takes him in and he's showing him how the whole world works. And it's solid. It's not quite as good as some of The Rock's other better action thrillers like Faster, which I'm actually a big fan of Faster, and Walking Tall and The Rundown, but I think it's right up there with them. Like if you're doing like a top 5 The Rock movies, it's like all of those in this one. And I don't know, maybe you throw in Scorpion King or any of those Fast and Furious movies you like, any of that. But I think this one is better than a lot of his go-to action movies. All right, number 19, I had The Wolverine. So Dan and I talked about this movie, so you should know from that episode exactly how I feel about it. I feel just like Dan does. It's a really good movie, but it has some missteps, mainly in the third act and how they treat the Silver Samurai. Otherwise, I think it's a really solid movie, and it's got a high rewatchability to it. Number 18, Gravity. A little far down this list, some people might think, but I didn't see it at theater, so I didn't have that, like, oh, I'm completely blown away by all of this factor. I saw it on a small TV. And so, I think that it is really impressive, everything that was done with this. I think it's a really solid movie. I just happen to have a lot more that I connect with up this list than this one. So, 18 it is. Number 17, I have Rush. Dan and I talked about this, and it's a really, really good movie. I couldn't find it anywhere to stream, and I don't own it going into these episodes. So it's not that fresh in my mind. It may have gone higher if I had seen it somewhat recently. But yeah, that's where this one is. And our final movie is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I watched this for the first time prepping for these episodes, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really fun movie. It is a remake, and I remember my grandfather talking about how big of a fan he was of the original, and it just has a nice sense of wonder to it. It makes you feel good. It's a feel-good movie. It's a little bit inspiring. It's got a good score, good cast. It's got all these nice things to it. And yeah, so I put this at number 16. So coming up next is the remaining segment of other movies that were released this year that Dan and I talked about in the last episode that got cut from it. So please enjoy that. So now that we've worked our way through our list, I just wanted to call out a couple movies here that are kind of like honorable mentions, but I think just kind of I wanted to mention in a way to be like, hey, all these other movies came up this year too, to show how hard it is to make a list like this with
It is.
so many other movies. Was there anything you wanted to call out?
Give me 1 second. If you want to start it off, I can follow you.
Okay, so Blue Jasmine was out there. That is apparently a really fantastic movie. It won an Oscar for what's her name? I can't think of her name.
Leah Seydoux?
No.
The other one, then.
Yeah. So yeah, that was out there.
Oculus,
just like you said. So Oculus, that was one. Remember,
It's
I
a fun
texted
movie.
you about it, and I was like, hey, so Oculus.
Well, that's right too. I forgot about that conversation.
Yeah, so Oculus. There were two movies, Oculus and Coherence, that I went to watch, and for some reason I noticed that the streaming thing they were on said 2014 instead of 2013, while IMDb said 2013. And so I was like, well, that's weird. And I looked into it, and Oculus, it had done like a showing at a festival in 2013, and that's why it showed that on IMDb.
Okay.
But you and I were going off of actual release. So it was released in 2014 in theaters or video or whatever it was. And so we were like, no, we're going by releases, not that it was shown once at a festival or whatever. The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug came out this year.
I know, it was hard to not put that on my list. Like, even like if I did a 16 to 20, it's going to be in that range. It's not my favorite of that franchise at all, but it's well worth your time.
Yeah, it wasn't in mine. I'm not huge on the Hobbit movies, but you know.
Frozen came out this year. I know you love your animated movies.
Yeah, I've never seen. I have seen Frozen, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Dude, my nephew was obsessed with it. I've watched the movie more times probably than any movie on this list. But
it's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't need to watch it
Dallas
again.
Buyers Club, I've never seen. Buyers Club.
Saw it once. It's not for me. Elysium came out this year with Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Mama. Warm Bodies.
Mama was weird. I like Warm Bodies quite a bit, actually.
I know you do. I've never seen Warm Bodies.
You should. That one I think you'll like.
Everywhere.
And wow, nice reference. That's a Korn song for the kids out there who don't know. Not Warm Bodies, but you'll get the gist. There's a lot of bad sequels this year. Like a lot of bad sequels to good movies, like Kickass 2, Red 2, Hangover Part 3. Yeah. Grown Ups 2. I didn't like the first Grown Ups. The second one's somehow way worse.
Fast and Furious 6. Escape Plan.
Yeah. Escape Plan. They made a sequel to that. You believe that?
They made like 2 or 3 sequels to that. I tried watching them one day. I'm like, oh, I'm in the mood for this. And I was like, oh my God, how did you make this premise so boring?
I know, right? Schwarzenegger and Stallone in a prison trying to get out. It sucked.
The Counselor came out this year. I wasn't huge on The Counselor. I think I might need to rewatch it, but yeah.
Counselor. Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender, Brad Pitt, Ridley Scott, I think.
Through the Never came out this year.
Yeah.
That's a fun little watch. Odd Thomas came out this year, which is a quirky kind of movie with Anton Yelchin in it. Sorry, in the lead role, who sadly passed away not too long after 2013. I can't remember exactly when, but that's a fun little movie. My mom is a big fan of it, so I think that's why I like it more than probably most people. But
Anton Yelchin?
Yeah, what'd I say?
I don't know. I was looking over the list, so I didn't 100% hear, but I think you might have said Yelich.
Oh, it's a baseball player. My bad.
I might be making that up, though.
No, I think you're right.
Let us know in the comments.
Sure.
Your favorite Die Hard movie was made this year.
Don't you talk about that.
Die Hard.
Don't you dare even mention that as a Die Hard movie. It's not. It's garbage.
Machete Kills.
That's bad.
Did you see Dead Man Down?
Dead Man Down. What's that one?
That's Noomi Rapace and Colin Farrell.
No.
So it was notable to me because in the trailer there was a cover of Shine On You Crazy Diamond and by Pink Floyd, and it put me on to this artist, and Kendra Morris was her name, I believe. But yeah, she ended up being really good. The album that was off ended up being really good, and it was probably my favorite trailer that year. Really good.
And I do want to get another shout out to to Bad Grandpa, Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. I had fun with that movie. You have to go into that knowing that it's a Jackass movie, and if that's not for you, it's not going to be for you. But I had fun with
it. Yeah, I don't really have any other. I mean, After Earth.
No, it's terrible, dude.
Thief. Didn't really dig any of those.
Identity Thief. Is that the Jason Bateman, Michelle McCarthy, or whatever? Melissa McCarthy?
Yes. Jennifer McCarthy.
T.P. McCarthy. Yeah, there's G.I. Joe Retaliation. Just bad sequels. This is the year of bad sequels, it looks like.
Yeah. Did you ever see Behind the Candelabra?
What the hell is that?
It was like nominated for a bunch of awards. I never watched it. I saw a trailer for it, and I was like, that looks like the most Oscar bait thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, pass on that. I don't really love Oscar bait movies. VHS
There's so
2.
Many of them.
Sorry. Yeah, it's especially obviously Oscar times, but yeah. That's a dumb statement. That's a dumb statement. Let's just let that one die.
We know.
that was stupid. VHS 2 came out this year. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I like the VHS movies a lot. Riddick.
Yeah.
Did you see Filth with James McAvoy?
No, I've heard it's good.
Bell is also in that too. It is really good. It's a really good performance by him. He's just being absolutely unhinged as like a police officer, like addicted to drugs, and it's wild. It's not one of those it's very over the top and almost to the point of like not being enjoyable. Like somewhere between The Wolf of Wall Street and Requiem for a Dream, you find the movie Filth.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, it's called Filth, so.
I mean, it tells you right in the box what it's going to be.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie The Last Days on Mars with Liev Schreiber?
Never even heard of that.
Elias Koteas. It's actually pretty good. It's a nice little like Mars-based horror movie.
Oh, okay. There's a few of those, but not many.
Yeah. It's good. It's in the same vein as like Europa Report. Europa Report is from this year. I liked it better. I don't hear many people talk about it, but it's a solid movie. It's a found footage space movie.
I mean, it's Liev Schreiber.
It has Europa Report.
Oh, okay.
Is found footage, and it's got the dude from District 9 in it. Can't think of his name offhand.
I can't either. I know what you mean.
But it's really good, and that's one that I found myself going back to pretty frequently too, because it's got a really unique ending to it, and yeah, I mean it's found footage. You don't get much found footage space, right? Copley. Oh, it's also got Mikhail Nivquist, who's like the bad guy from John Wick, and he was in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies, the original trilogy.
In fact, you have to say that. A couple other honorable mentions. You ever see The Curse of Chucky? It's actually good. Like I know. The Chucky movies can be all over the place, but Curse.
I don't believe you.
You should. Curse was straight to DVD, and it's enjoyable. It's probably the best of the modern Chucky movies. And lastly, another one I'll throw out there. This Is the End comedy with Jonah Hill and Jay Baruchel and James Franco. Yeah. Pretty sure. I just misread my list. No, it's this year.
I didn't even have that on my list.
No, I have to double check myself. Yeah, 2013. This Is the End.
Yeah, no, it is. You got it.
So it's a good movie. I enjoy it, but I didn't crack my list.
Yeah, it was a one-time watch for me.
Yeah, and comedy, man, we need more of it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of. That's kind of like what did they call that whole group of guys? Like the Brat Pack? Is that what they called them? Like Seth Rogen and all them.
Yeah, the Brat Pack was like the Emilio Estevez.
You're right. You're right.
Back in the
you're
day.
Right. They had a name like that too then for these guys, but I can't remember what it was.
Like Frat Pack or something.
Frat Pack, I think is right. That's right, because there was Rat Pack, then Brat Pack, and then Frat Pack. So this is very much of those kind of movies. So if that's your kind of jam, it's worth a watch. But also. Yeah, as Pat said, it's nothing that separates it from the rest of those. You looking at the list, trying to see if you want to shout out to anything else?
No, I was looking to see if I could figure out what their little crew here was called. And
okay.
Google AI is just like the Apatow crew because of Judd Apatow, but
that's
I don't think anybody ever called it that. So
I'm pretty sure you know that. I'm pretty sure it's Frat Pack.
No, oh wait, there it is. I scrolled down a little bit more. It is Frat Pack. Yeah. I'm telling you, that is not creative because I just came up with that right this second. So that was a just complete shot in the dark guess, and it was right.
You nailed it.
And that shows how creative these people are. That was probably like one of those tabloids came up with that, probably.
Yeah. No question on that.
Yeah.
You said Barry Pepper, and for some reason, whenever someone says Barry Pepper, my mind goes to Ben Foster. And then that made me remember that Lone Survivor came out this year. And that's a decent little war movie with him and Wahlberg and a couple other decent actors are in that, but I can't place them right now.
I wish they hadn't called it Lone Survivor.
Yeah, right? You know what it is before you go into it.
There's so many soldiers in that movie, and you're like, in a way, all these guys die. And But it's like, but it's called Lone Survivor. And yeah, lo and behold.
Yeah. Maybe call it something else.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. There only one of them survives.
Shockingly.
Yeah. And like, I'm just gonna spoil it because, like, you know, it is what it is. Like the scene where, like you're like, oh, well, like, look at there's all these guys right here, and then the helicopter just explodes and kills like half the guys. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Well, that would do it.
Yeah, that will do it. All right, thank you for watching our bonus episode. Please come back next week. We are doing a horror movie trivia, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So check that episode out. That's our 50th episode. Can't believe we made it this far, but please subscribe, rate us, do all the good things, and thank you so much for watching or listening.